Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another midweek Bible study on the book of Matthew. We're going to be studying chapter 4 of Matthew, and what I like to do in this intro is tell you what the situation is from my inspirational study Bible. As we read, Jesus told John the Baptist we should do all things that are God's will, and that's found in Matthew 3:15. Jesus followed God's will by resisting the devil's temptation and by teaching, preaching, and healing. So, my friends, we are going to listen to not Romans, but Matthew 4 being read by the voice from the phone, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do an observation, inspiration, and statement of action on Matthew chapter 4. Coming right up.
All right, here's YouVersion Bible. Matthew chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these I will give you, if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and were ministering to him. Now when he heard that John had been arrested, he withdrew into Galilee, and leaving Nazareth he went and lived in Capernaum by the sea, in the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali, so that what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah might be fulfilled: "The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people dwelling in darkness have seen a great light, and for those dwelling in the region and shadow of death, on them a light has dawned." From that time Jesus began to preach, saying, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." While walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, in the boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets, and he called them. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. And he went throughout all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease and every affliction among the people. So his fame spread throughout all Syria, and they brought him all the sick, those afflicted with various diseases and pains, those oppressed by demons, those having seizures and paralytics, and he healed them. And great crowds followed him from Galilee and the Decapolis, and from Jerusalem and Judea, and from beyond the Jordan.
Well, my friends, that's the reading of Matthew chapter 4. And one of the reasons why I did not read that to you myself is because there's a lot of hard to pronounce words there. And I'm not a real good reader, and I don't want to slaughter them words. So Let's look at the observation, as you can see on the card right here. What is the observation of Matthew chapter 4? Jesus gave his disciples the most rewarding job. He taught them to reach out to people with the good news of God. My friends, that's a pretty good observation. How many times do we go out and share the good news of God with other people? More than that, how many of us know what the good news of God truly is? What I like to do now, and this is one of my favorite parts of this study, is to read the inspiration, as you can see right there. This is a story that Max Lucado found when he put it in this Bible, and I really connect to these inspirational stories. So allow me to read this story to you. When I was in high school, our family used to fish every year during spring break. One year my brother and my mom couldn't go, so my dad let me invite a friend. I asked Mark. He was a good pal and a great sport. He got permission from his parents, and we began planning our trip. We loaded our camper and set out for the lake. We arrived late at night, unfolded the camper, and went to bed, dreaming of tomorrow's day in the sun. But during the night, an unseasonably strong northern blew in. It got cold fast. The wind was so strong that we could barely open the camper door the next morning. The sky was gray. The lake was a mountain range of white toppled waves. There was no way we could fish in that weather. No problem, we said. We'll spend the day in the camper. After all, we have Monopoly. We have Reader's Digest. We all knew a few jokes. It's not what we came to do, but we'll make the best of it and fish tomorrow. We were in for a surprise. The next morning, it wasn't the wind that made the door hard to open. It was ice. It was a long day. It was a long, cold night. When we awoke the next morning, the sound of sleep slapping the canvas, we didn't even pretend to be cheerful. We were flat out grumpy. Mark became more of a jerk with each passing moment. I wondered what spell of ignorance I must have been in when I invited him. Dad couldn't do anything right. I wondered how someone so irritable could have such an even-tempered son. We sat in misery the whole day, our fishing equipment still unpacked. The next day was even colder. We're going home. Were my father's first words. No objection. I learned a hard lesson that week, not about fishing, but about people. When those who are called to fish don't fish, they fight. But note the other side of this fish tale. When those who are called to fish, fish, they flourish. Leave soldiers inside the barricades with no time on the front lines and see what happens to their attitude. The soldiers will invent things to complain about. Bunks will be too hard, food will be too cold, leadership will be too tough. The company will be too stale. Yet, place these same soldiers in the trenches and let them duck a few bullets, and what was boring barricades will seem like a haven. The beds will feel great, the food will be almost ideal, the leadership will be courageous, the company will be exciting. When those who are called to fish, fish, they flourish. This is from In the Eye of the Storm by Max Lucado. What an amazing story that is. I don't really have to study too much just to get the grip of what the inspiration is saying. Let's look at the application. What is my statement of action to be able to put Matthew 4 into action in my life? Are you a faithful worker in God's service? Okay, these come with questions. So when I read the application, the statement of action, it comes with questions. Are you a faithful worker of God's service? Me personally, I would say yes. Is it easier for you to share your faith or argue with another Christian? For me, it's easier to share my faith. I don't really want to argue with other Christians because that's not my job. And then it says here, ask God to help you become a successful fisher of men. My friends, I want to ask you the question of how has God worked in your life to help you share the gospel with other people? What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to leave a comment below on how you have actually reached out to other people and shared the good news of what God, through Jesus Christ, has done in your life. I think that's a pretty amazing thing. My friends, during this next week, if you'd like to, you can check out my Sunday life lesson on when do boys become men. You can see that video right there. This is talking about personal maturity. I think that's very important. My friends, may God bless you. May his face shine upon you. May Jesus always bring you joy. I'll see you soon.